Hey, it's Harcourt from Paper, and today we're talking about constraints. Constraints define how an element that is not a flex item responds when its parent frame is resized. Constraints are relevant when you're designing an element inside a frame that does not have flex layout applied. But they're also relevant when you're designing an element inside a frame that does have flex layout applied, but this particular element is positioned absolutely. At the end of the last video, we had a card that had a close button we positioned absolutely in the top right corner. So right now I'm going to show you how we can make sure that button always stays in the top right corner with constraints. Let's get into it. In the paper canvas, when we resize this card, that close button is not staying in the top right corner. That's because it is constrained to the top left. Here's the constraints UI inside paper. We have this horizontal constraint, we have this vertical constraint, and then we have our constraints diagram. And you can choose your constraints either by selecting one from each of these dropdowns or by pinning it from this diagram. So by default, when we made this button positioned absolutely, it constrained it to the top left, but we want to constrain it to the top right, so it's always staying the same distance from the top and the same distance from the right. So let's just select that right here, pin to the right. Once again, we could also select it from this dropdown. Now, when we grab our entire parent and we resize, that button always in the top right corner, which is exactly what we want. Now let's look at a different example where we're going to use different constraints and where the object is not in a frame that has flex layout. So I have my modal and I can drag this around wherever I want. I want it to be right in the center, but even though I've placed it in the center, you can see we're still constrained to the top left. And when I resize this, that's not what we want. It's always staying the same distance from the top and from the left rather than staying in the center, which is obviously where we want it. But look at this. If I take this modal and I use my alignment properties here to horizontally align it center and vertically align it in the center, that changed the constraints to be center-center. That's something paper does automatically because we assume that if you are centering something, you also want it to be constrained in the center. So now when I resize this, our modal is always staying exactly in the center, which is exactly what we want here. In that example, the width of the modal stayed the same, and what was changing was the space on either side between the parent frame and that modal itself. But if we use different horizontal constraints, we could make the content grow while the space on either side stays the same if we use left and right, or we can make both the content and the space on either side grow proportionally if we use stretch. Let me show you both of those. So let's go ahead and change that horizontal constraint from center to left and right. And remember, this is going to keep the space on either side the same. Let's hold down Option, and now you can see that there are 500 pixels on either side. That's the space between the edge of the frame and the modal. And as we resize the frame, that space is staying at 500. Now let's go back to that original size and let's try it with stretch. This time, when we change the width, the space on either side is changing and the modal's width itself is changing. And now, instead of being a fixed value, this modal is actually a percentage value. And that's what you need to know about constraints in paper. This video, plus the last one on flex layout, together these two concepts make up layout in paper. So now you're well equipped to create beautiful, thoughtful, and responsive designs inside paper. So go check it out. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, follow us on socials, and join our community channels, which I've linked below. Thanks so much for watching this whole series, and let us know what you want to see next.